I think the other much. Anybody else?
So we'll get folks
agenda?
on the start.
Yes.
Come on.
All right, so I think. Welcome everybody to the December 2023 meeting of the Sobrante Municipal Advisory Council. This is an advisory council to the board. And we'd like to start off with a roll call, then we can maybe go into the Pledge of Allegiance.
Tom S. Lang,
Here.
George Cleveland is
Excused absence.
Susan Goudreau,
Excused absence.
Jim Herman,
Present.
Dr. Belinda McLean,
Here.
Nikki Norris,
Here.
Tom Owens,
Here.
Shirley Rosenthal Winston,
Excused absence.
and Emily Lewick. Excuse also. Steve.
So why don't we have the Pledge of Allegiance? Nikki, would you like? No.
I'll do it. I'll do it. I'm illegal. Rise and over your heart and repeat with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. And to the republic one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I don't say it. I especially say it. I can make you. That's say. I don't say.
Treasurer's report.
So, will need to be updated. I did receive new name badges, but as of the printing of the completion of the agenda, we're at $2,964.59.
Okay, and have people had a chance to look at the minutes from October and November? And in that case, I'd like to make a motion to approve. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minutes from October and November are approved. So I think we can start into our normal round of presentations and begin with the county update with Ronnie and Supervisor Joy.
Yes, so we're gonna go through these pretty quickly. I have a good number of updates, but the final dumpster day for the year is going to be on the December, or this weekend, this Saturday. We sent out word a few weeks ago, but if you all have any items that you'd like to get rid of or know of any, please stop by for the final dumpster day at the Appian Moose Lodge on 4660 Appian Way. Is it Appian, Appian? I feel like I'm on Appian, okay. And a tomato.
Yeah, it's the same.
Everyone will know where you're.
Yeah,
Record mostly says that.
yeah, okay.
Ready or not, that's what they say.
Okay. And the board of supervisors voted this past Tuesday on Supervisor Joy's proposal to allocate $1 million each year to support parks in the unincorporated areas in the county. And that's also Sobrante being included in that as well. So the board has not yet decided on how to split this up. And more information will be provided in the near future, but
We have the letters from
Yes, those were sent in, so that's some good news in regards to park allocation. We hosted a bike lane town hall last Wednesday to gather community input regarding a bike lane road diet study. That will be done, that was done to provide a safer pathway for cyclists along San Pablo Dam Road. And so there will be more information and the replay of that town hall posted on District 1 site. And in regards to an update on the noise ordinance, both Supervisor Joy and I have been in communication with the DCD director regarding the next steps for this noise ordinance, and we have received a rough work plan for implementation, and we anticipate the launch of a countywide working group starting next month. There was an urgency ordinance that was approved by the board back last year and renewed for another year, May this year. And that does apply throughout the unincorporated counties and not just in East County. So that ordinance would sorry, I lost my place. That urgency ordinance prohibits amplified music at outdoor gatherings of 75 people or more after 10 p.m. on Friday and Saturday, and after 8 p.m. On the other days of the week. That also limits the noise from these gatherings to 60 decibels. And so the noise ordinance that was renewed back in May will be one of the tools for us to help address noise associated gatherings that are under 75. So that's in the works.
60 decibels would help tremendously.
Yeah.
That would help a lot.
So
Yay.
baby steps. So the ball is still moving, but I know it's not to at the pace that we overall would like, but we do have some good things going in regards to that. Let's see, our public works team has finished the cleanup of some dumping along the San Pablo Dam Road and Alhambra Way. Yes.
Oh, wow. It looked like Sohalen's looking to come in.
Okay,
If you want to make me a co-host, I can let people know while you're talking.
okay.
Right there.
What is that?
Yeah, just the.
There she is.
I'll let her in. Yeah,
Yes, got it.
and I
Technology.
can handle that for you. It's easy.
All right, so, our public works team has finished the cleanup of San Pablo Dam Road and Alhambra Way and has installed temporary cave rail barriers on the 28th. And that was confirmed by our team at Public Works. The temporary measure will be in place until we install permanent fencing. So there have also been 3 to 4 other locations where fencing will be placed along the dam road. And one location is near the entrance to the reservoir main entrance. The second is adjacent to the southeast of the main dumping area near Alhambra Way. And the third location is further southeast above San Pablo, the San Pablo Reservoir boat launch. And finally, for the county update, I reached out to the EV Mud team and was notified that they are still in the process of finalizing their environmental impact report for this project, and will not have any additional information to present until spring of next year. So if there are any pertinent questions regarding the EV Mud treatment plant, you can just forward those over to me, and I'll go ahead and reach out to the EV Mud team. And that concludes the county update.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your report. The first question, just to
No, you can go first. I'll go second.
just to make sure with respect to the noise ordinance, the work group would discuss modifications to that current noise ordinance to reduce, lower the requirement on the number of people and potentially make an adjustment to the decibel value, things like that. All right. And is there any sense of, how long it will take for that kind of work through process to play out? And, a rough estimate for folks here when there might be, a modified noise ordinance in place?
At this time, no, but I'm more than sure that will be something initiated to bring it once the working group does in next month.
So maybe, either the next meeting or the meeting after that,
Might be a good idea just to have the ECD official check in for just like a brief presentation to say hi, because it's pretty interesting.
Okay, I can try.
Linda,
Yeah, this is in the same category of speakers for next meetings. Several folks have been having sort of challenging experiences with Public Works. The president of the Chamber of Commerce couldn't get any response about mural on the library, and now the funding is gone because it took over a year to even hear back from them. We still haven't heard back on the farmers market, so I don't know what's happening for Public Works, but it would be nice if we could just kind of hear what's going on and what can we do to kind of ease these long wait times that literally kill projects in the cradle. So just would like to hear back from Public Works.
Okay, so to have them comment on specific issues or to.
I would love to see them come to this, somebody from Public Works come to this meeting so that we can just talk about a number of issues in El Sobrante that feel like we kind of are a neglected stepchild. Now, that may or may not be true, and I'd be happy to hear that it's not true, but it feels like when we propose stuff, we get nowhere.
here's what, that's. Have a public.
And you know, having them here every once in a while is just useful, because we interact with them a lot. You know, so does Nikki. Nikki interacts with Public Works a lot.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah, I have I was just wondering if you could like maybe post the link to the survey online for the bike study. Because they're taking input until what, January 24th, something like that. Somehow or another, if people want to have a say and see what the study is suggesting, which is reducing, there's two different proposals. One is creating bike lane from Castro Ranch to Main Road, and the other one's from Castro Ranch to Appian Way. And that would involve reducing the traffic to one lane in each direction, plus a middle lane for turning, basically. So if you have something to say about that, I'd suggest you should really fill out that survey online and look at it. Otherwise, you'll be left with other people decide what they want. So and it has implications for traffic. It has, you know, bonuses for, you know, making bike travels more safe. So that's the plus of that, and we're looking to get people out of their cars into the bikes if they have this lane. But it is going to increase the time a bit, not terribly significantly, but it will increase the commutes down that road if there's only one lane in your direction. So if we can get that somehow or another for people to participate with that later online.
Any other questions from the council? In that case, questions from the floor or from online? Okay, please.
I can't find the bike study, where do I look for it? The survey,
It hasn't been posted.
oh, that's, okay.
Oh, it hasn't been posted yet?
No.
Well, I'm assuming-
But it will be by the end.
Okay, thank you.
Where will it be posted?
On the district's main site, Supervisor Joyce's main site.
Okay,
Maryland has.
Yeah, I think Marilyn is trying to speak.
okay, Marilyn, go ahead.
Unmute Marilyn.
So much for clicking that. I did. Thank you for taking my question. I wasn't sure whether it was allowable. Has any sort of analysis been done on how these traffic changes would affect the capacity to get people out of here in case of an urgent evacuation?
Not specific to that case. but traffic conditions were taken into effect with the study and the consultant that the county used. But that would be a great addition to the comments on that survey once it's posted.
Yeah, because I have already had dealings with Richmond Traffic Engineering, and they simply refuse to ever talk to the fire department about evacuation concerns on road changes. So I really hope that that would be a major point that would be studied before going further on any major change. That's all.
So if there are no further questions regarding the supervisor's office presentation, then I think we can move on. So what I was wondering is, it seems like are there going to be two fire protection district presentations? There's one by there's Chief Gage is here.
Yes.
And then there's another person from the Michelle Reinhardt is here as well.
Yeah, she's a communications officer, but they usually both come.
Okay, so should we
If we can make it one presentation, I'll have Michelle come behind my presentation.
okay, so why don't we go ahead with you, Chief Gage, and then we'll go to Michelle's.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. If somebody can put their hand up to make sure they can hear me. Excellent. Thank you very much. Lon Gage from Contra Costa County Fire Protection District. Also joining me tonight is Michelle Reinhardt from our wildfire mitigation program. So I'm going to have Michelle kind of chime in towards the end of my report. Peak fire season ended for us, thankfully, in November. We have transitioned. I'll go ahead and start my video.
Thanks.
Let me know if it affects my audio quality. We wrapped up peak fire season in November. That means that we're no longer sending multiple engines, dozers, hand crews to reported vegetation fires. Glad to report that we did not have a significant wildland season this year due to the heavy rains we had last year, and we're hoping for the same this year. We actually had the same number of vegetation fires that we had in previous years. We were just able to keep them smaller. Our hand crew now has transitioned to full-time vegetation management. There are currently 70 projects that are in our wildfire mitigation plan program. We've completed 66 of those projects. The remaining projects are, for the most part, very large, probably multi-year projects that we're going to be working on continuously just due to their size and complexity. I'd like to remind everybody, and Michelle can provide you with more information, we encourage the public to go to our website and look at our wildfire mitigation page and look and see how you within the community can access different resources that are available to help improve our resilience to wildland fires, both community chipping days and defensible space projects. Moving on to training division, we're getting ready to start our next fire academy. So our fire academy for 15 future firefighters for Contra Costa Fire will begin in the second week of January. We're looking forward to our new recruits joining us. In emergency medical services, we've been very busy this year, and the EMS division has implemented what we call a basic life support tiered response program for our ambulance system. What this means is we now have ambulances in our system that are staffed by 2 emergency medical technician basic level employees that can handle lower priority calls. This is really important within our system because our communication center is accredited to screen calls, and when our dispatchers can determine that the emergency does not need the services of paramedics, we actually dispatch those basic life support ambulances to those calls, which relieves a lot of pressure on the system and enables us to assign our paramedic staffed ambulances to the higher acuity calls where they're needed, and the basic life support calls are being handled by our BLS units. It's been very successful so far. We've seen drastic improvement in ambulance response times in the first 2 months of the program. The other issue we run into with ambulances is what they call ambulance patient offload times. And that's when our hospitals become so inundated with patients that we have difficulty transferring the patients we transport by ambulance to the emergency room staff. So we've been working with different hospitals throughout the county. One of the hospitals that had a very high ambulance offload time was Sutter Delta in Antioch, and we were able to work with their leadership, and they have implemented some changes in the way that they triage and get patients into the emergency room, which has drastically improved the offload times at that facility. So we work with all the emergency rooms in the county to implement some of the changes that Sutter Delta made to improve that time, which improves our ability to get ambulances available and be able to respond to other emergencies. This year is the year that excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. I apologize. This year, we are reapplying for the ambulance RFP. So we will be bidding to continue to provide oversight for the emergency ambulance service this year in 2024. That process takes about a year, and then hopefully we'll be chosen to continue to provide that oversight into the future. We have, because of the shortage of paramedics in the county and also nationwide, we have taken the initiative to identify 12 firefighters within our department that are EMTs that have chosen to become paramedics. So they started paramedic school at the beginning of the semester this year. They're actually attending paramedic training right at Contra Costa College right here in San Pablo. So we have 12 firefighter EMTs that are in their paramedic training. It should take about a year, but we're hoping to add more paramedics to our system through that program. All the medics are doing really good. Says that their attendance average is 100% and their class score average is 92%, which is pretty impressive. Like I said earlier, we are seeing a lot of progress with our fire mitigation program. We have some maps available that we can share with Ronnie to share with all of you to show the different projects and where they're at throughout the county. The majority of the program, or the majority of the projects, are actually in the areas where we'd expect them to be. So in West County and the southern portion of Central County. We are working with our local building officials, landlords, property managers, the H3 program through the county to address unhoused people taking refuge in abandoned buildings. We've had a number of fires this year, major fires in Pittsburgh and Antioch that were caused by people that were in these abandoned structures and causing fires. So we're working with all those different agencies to try to improve access to appropriate housing, and then hopefully securing those buildings and potentially demolishing them so they aren't there to be occupied. Some progress for us on the public information front. We've recruited a new public information officer. Her name is Lauren Ono. She started with us in late November. She replaces Steve Hill, who retired about 4 months ago. She is going to be a great addition to Con Fire. She comes from the South Metro Fire District in Colorado, and prior to that, she worked for the Folsom Fire Department here in California. So we're looking forward to having Lauren join us. In addition to Lauren, we have added a fire captain to our public information office. His name is Chris Toller. He's going to be doing more of the interviews and for the fire district about different initiatives and incidents out there. And Lauren's going to focus on the overall communications, both internally and externally, regarding the fire district. Our comm center in Pleasant Hill is in the process of being redesigned and rebuilt. We're hopeful that those plans are going to be accepted in January, and we're planning to begin construction on our new communication center in the fall. Or, I'm sorry, in the spring, and that's going to be at our former headquarters site, which is located right next to our current comm center. So it should make the plan and the move a little bit easier. Last item to report on, we have expecting delivery of 2 water tenders here before the end of the year. We also have our truck company that was involved in an accident in February where they were stuck on the freeway. We were able to get that truck back to the manufacturer in Wisconsin. They were able to repair that truck, and we're expecting that that truck will be delivered back to us in January and we'll be able to put back in service. We're also expecting another truck company to be delivered in late February. We have 2 fire stations that are in the design phase for build both in the city of Brentwood. Those projects are moving forward. There's no set date on when the construction will be complete, but the plans and all the approvals are going through right now. The last item is a somber item. One of our firefighters that has been battling occupational cancer for the past year and a half, unfortunately lost his battle to cancer and passed away on November 12th. We held a full honors service for John and his family. We were able to host over 500 people who attended his funeral in Antioch. 300 of those were firefighters. So we were able to work with agencies from throughout Contra Costa County, Alameda County, Sacramento County, and Solano County to bring in fire engine companies to come in and cover our area so our firefighters could attend John's funeral. That's the end of my report. I'd be happy to turn it over to Michelle to fill in any gaps regarding the wildfire mitigation program that I might have missed.
Okay, so thank you, Chief Gage. And so we'll just go to Michelle's presentation and then we'll open questions to the both of you afterwards.
Thank you.
Michelle?
Thank you, Chief. As usual, you have covered everything eloquently and with the utmost professionalism, and I appreciate your support at these meetings and in other venues. The wildfire mitigation program continues to scale as quickly as possible. As Chief mentioned, we have applied and completed projects. And again, if you need additional support in entering your request, feel free to contact me. My information is located within the chat. I've also placed the links to our wildfire mitigation program, our Contra Costa County Fire Protection District, the Measure X information, our Firewise program, and the community warning system, how to sign up for community warning system notifications. If you need me or if a member of the public needs to reach me, I am available, and please feel free to reach out. So thank you all for allotting this time for me.
Both, and we'll open for questions. Reverend.
One quick question, Chief Gage, about the ambulance offload problems. Kaiser Richmond, I have certainly seen ambulances backed up there. And it seems to me that, you know, when Doctors Hospital went away, that meant that, you know, it's just a long haul from District 1 to any hospital except Kaiser Richmond. So I wonder if Kaiser Richmond is particularly, I mean, you mentioned Antioch, but is there anything we can do to help Kaiser Richmond?
You know, specifically, we're sharing everything that Sutter Delta implemented to try to streamline the offload times. But as you pointed out, Kaiser Richmond is a critical facility for West County, and they picked up an incredible amount of the emergency transport.
Facility, it's not just critical, it's it.
Is it, with the exception of hospitals in Oakland, in Alameda County and Solano County, that we also transport to regularly from West County. I know that Kaiser's a pretty efficient operation. I know they've implemented quite a few things to try to streamline patients going through their emergency room. I really don't have any specific answers for you other than we meet with all of the emergency rooms on a regular basis to share information and try to share efficiencies so we can try to keep this system viable.
Well, I'm curious about your opinion if public health ought to try to create more capacity in this part of the county for emergency services in terms of hospitals. I mean, Kaiser can only get as big and do as much as they can. So I'm not really kind of questioning their efficiency. I'm wondering if we need like another clinic or we need something, some way that people don't end up having to be transported all the way to Oakland or Walnut Creek. So I'm just curious about that. And obviously your experience of these offload times is a piece of data that's really important in that conversation.
Yeah, I know that there are a lot of stakeholders, including Supervisor Joya, that are trying to look at the availability of emergency services within West County. But obviously having another emergency room or having other facilities that can relieve some of the impact on the emergency medical services system would definitely help.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And are there other questions, Nikki?
And Martinez is a whole too.
Okay, yeah, hi. I don't know if you can answer this question. It's really probably not under, something that you do. But we're trying to figure out how we can access water along San Pablo Dam Road to water the planters there. Is this something that you have any suggestions for us to, because that's our holdup with that project, the beautification project right now?
Are we talking about like parklands? Are we talking about private property or?
We're talking about the planters that the Chamber of Commerce set up all along San Pablo Dam Road in front of different businesses. But they're not part of the businesses, so they're just kind of a county beautification, I think, or San Pablo or El Sobrante beautification project. But we just wanted to get any help with or any suggestions on how we can access water. And I don't know if you have any suggestions for us.
My suggestion would be to reach out through Ronnie to Public Works to see what, if any, resources they might be able to provide in either getting a source to those planters or potentially watering those plants or trees. I know that there are cities and counties that do that throughout the county. So that would be my suggestion.
Thank you. Yeah, we do have volunteers who are willing to help water them. We just need to know where the water is. But if Public Works to do it, even better.
Add it to our public works.
Further questions for Chief H? Yes.
When Michelle gave her previous presentation about the fire district, I raised a question and she didn't have the answer, so I just want to let people know she followed up. And the answer is that they do have a pump generators at the pumping stations during fire season to make sure that they don't have the problem they hit Hawaii where they didn't have enough water pressure. That was my question. Do we have the protection? And she got back to me. So thank you for getting back to me. I just thought I'd let everyone know we do have that protection.
Thank you very much for that acknowledgement. However, that was the chief's doing. We are a team at Confire and I could not provide that answer without the chief's support. So again, Chief, thank you very much.
Further questions either from the council or the floor or online for Chief H, Michelle Reinhardt. In that case,
thank you both for the presentation and for all the work you do to protect us.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Happy holidays to everyone from the fire district.
Okay, so next in
Thank
line in the usual presentations, Lieutenant Rodriguez isn't able to make it. We have
My name is Brandon Faison, I'm the deputy sheriff department. I'm just introducing myself because I know you're like, who's this guy?
Not more brother.
Definitely taller.
And but don't tell him I said.
I will, I have. I've been in the sheriff department for about 4 years. I'm recently here in El Serrano. I've been patrolling out here for about 3 years. Like, unfortunately, he can't be here today because he was sent off to a school that he had to complete. As far as the reports, he was unable to access them to send it to me. So I'm here actually just to receive, if you have any questions that I asked in previous meetings, and I'll go ahead and I'll email them to him. But there has not been no significant change in crime rates or anything out here in El Sobrante. That's a hard one to follow.
You didn't want to follow the fire.
I'm trying to get these questions. Any questions from the council or the floor or online for Deputy Bisson? Yeah.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm Tony from, I'm the director of operations for F1 Region. And, we got in touch with, and, but haven't been able to create, much of a connection. We work in encampments all throughout Sobrante and other parts of West County. And, because our staff, field staff are 100% hired from encampment, they're really good at connecting to people and being a kind of the intermediary between police or fire or public works or code enforcement. But we would like to have a relationship or a contact at the sheriff's department. We're wondering who's the right person.
It would be Lieutenant Rodriguez.
It would be?
Yes.
Okay. We'll keep trying.
Okay.
Thank you.
You can actually, I can give you my email before I leave as well.
Sure.
Contact me just in case.
Sure. Thank you.
Any other questions for the sheriff's department?
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
So, because we've got a frontline guy here today, not a desk jockey. So, as you may have heard earlier in the meeting, we're very concerned about really loud parties. I think this is my own crackpot theory is during the pandemic, people couldn't go to clubs, so they turned their backyards into clubs. And while that's kind of cool, and occasionally the bands are really good, by the time it gets to be midnight and they're drunk, it's lousy, and that's not a time you're gonna go over and talk to your neighbor when they're drunk. And so, when you get calls for these parties, what would be the most helpful tool we could give you in terms of like an ordinance or something else to help us deal with this, what becomes sort of a nuisance? What kind of tool would be helpful for you?
For us, as far as.
Yeah, for you, when you have to go to a party and they've got a band and 50 drunk people and the neighbors are calling.
That has been an issue in certain areas that we patrol. Most of the time we go out there, 2 of us, 2 or maybe more. And here lately, they've been dispersed and we really haven't had no issues with them continuing on playing music
So people just agree when you come by their house.
for the most part. Yes.
Yeah.
We have onesie twosies that don't, but that's standard.
Is
Yeah, I just had, you know, that we can push it for a noise ordinance here in El Sobrante and whatnot like that. In my experience, along with other people that I've contacted, I communicate with, they tell me that when they call the sheriff's department, they go there, it's happened to me too, and I communicate with the sheriff's department. They tell me, all we do is go there and tell them to turn it down. We don't have an ordinance for that. I looked up this California noise ordinance, and it specifically states there that you guys do have a tool for that, where you can actually, they face 90 days in jail plus a fine if they don't comply with what the officers tell them.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah, but probably on the,
You gotta put that up.
yeah, from the internet there, you keep that for yourself, that question.
And then Lieutenant Rodriguez, and see if that'll be
And
useful.
I appreciate what Ronnie and the rest of you have been doing to push this thing forward, you know, it's been great. So I feel hopeful that something is finally being done here. You know, we've been pushing at this for, I'd say, years.
Years.
And nothing's concrete's been done. And I sympathize with the officer, when they go knock on the door. I know by me, they go knock on the door and, hey, can you turn it down? Yeah, sure, right. The officer takes off and boom, goes back up. So I found that, and I said, well, if the officer took that and said, hey, you guys can turn it down, or you guys are facing criminal charges, a fine, or jail, or whatever, you know, they'll turn it down right away. Appreciate your help on that.
Anyway, that's all I had, was just, you know, cause you're a rank and file guy, you're the guy who actually has to go and knock on the door. I wanted to hear what you thought about it, thank you.
Okay, so, Chris,
Yeah, I just had you have something to?
No, no.
Okay, we're talking about that dump that was found over, and we talked about it again a little bit, by the dam, I'm just wondering if you.
Reservoir?
Yeah, by the reservoir, they said that there was some, leads, I thought, you know, any update on any enforcement?
Oh, right now, as far as there are leads when it comes to people that are dumping, I'm guessing leads on different vehicles and stuff like that. As of now, I can't say too much because that's still under investigation, but there are leads that try that.
That was a horrendous dump,
It was a lot.
wow.
And there's an active investigation, so that's.
Yes, it is.
Can I just ask what sort of penalties they're facing, if any?
Fine and jail time, because that down there is.
Yes.
Felony.
You know, and
that's what we can.
just trying to get the word out a little more. There's period.
It's pretty serious.
So, okay, further questions for the sheriff's office? In that case, thank you very much, sir, for coming and spending some time with us. And
The ultimate updates were all there.
Please give our regards to Lieutenant Rodriguez. Well done.
You can say.
Thank you. Okay, so I don't think we are going to have the highway patrol here. So it looks like the next item is a vote to reestablish the planning and zoning subcommittee. What I was thinking is, Tom, if you would be willing to give like a 2-minute preamble for that.
Sure.
It's everybody.
Was set up, I don't know the exact year that it was set up, but it was set up between May Valley, the MAC and the Chamber. And at the time, they were each contributing money to support mailings, which we don't do anymore. We do it all on computer. But the charter says that each group can elect 3 people to represent them. And the only requirement was that the people have to live within the valley. So it can be city of Richmond, it can be unincorporated, can be a member of the chamber. The business owner, and they don't even live here. You know, they have to have a vested interest in the valley.
Have you come to any meeting chamber report?
Well, when I first got voted on, the chamber actually gave me the position.
Oh.
So I haven't been back, so that's been 9 years or so.
So if you're available, it might be a good idea to see if you can get on their agenda for the January meeting. You know, because I would bet you find 3 chamber members to be a part of it.
And it doesn't have to be a chamber member, it can be someone they know.
Or
Where you want.
Wow, yeah,
I'm sure there'd be people.
because I know people on committees, they do a lot of work, they know they have the extra time. And it's not a strenuous job. We only get 3 or 4, probably a quarter, that we have to actually go out and do any work on. And that's usually in about an hour worth of time.
Well, thank you. I think we should hold the vote
a subcommittee of the map?
No, it's never a subcommittee that met.
It's got down here, it's established planning and zoning subcommittee.
No, well,
It's a separate entity.
It's a separate committee, which you would have 3 representatives.
Yeah,
I
right.
didn't catch that in the
Take the
agenda.
word sub off,
yeah,
just committee.
committee.
So in the minutes, we can have it as just the planning.
Would be a
zoning.
committee of this, maybe it's not. a
No,
committee.
it's totally
It's totally
separate.
separate. It's the planning and zoning is totally separate from the map,
So
totally
just,
separate.
just,
And the county would, there was boxes we checked, we have somebody who's doing some kind of development, we had to get approval from. The map was the one box and the P and Z was the 7 box, not part of the map.
and so this committee has 3 chamber members, a MAC member and somebody else. Who does it have?
May Valley,
So 3 chamber members, how many members from May Valley?
3, they each get 3, so
And
it's
then
9
MAC
members.
And then MAC gets 3.
Yes,
Okay, so this is what I suggest, we take a vote that we should appoint 3 MAC representatives to the planning and
Don't
zoning.
need to be MAC members probably, right?
they do
could
not
just
have to
be
be MAC members.
Somebody we appoint.
So the motion is this, the MAC should designate 3 people to serve on this committee.
Yes.
I second it.
All right,
And we take applications and maybe visit it in February and try to get the 3.
Right, but I
So
second
we
that
get
we
2
appoint
months.
people.
all right.
So we reestablish our connection with the.
Tom, Warren's got a piece of information that might be helpful.
It might be. I'm Maureen Toms with the Department of Conservation and Development. And when we get applications in, we submit them in all of the maps. We have 30 days in which to determine whether an application is complete or not. I do recall maybe about 10 years ago that many of the supervisors reconstitute who is doing that work. So you may want to check with Supervisor Joya's office to see if, you know, you might be then asking another entity to do what your role is. So you may want to have a conversation with the supervisor's office. In doing that. I think-
Historically, it's been both
Yeah,
the MAC and the P and Z, the El Sobrante planning and zoning.
as I recall, they were streamlining a number of things so that it would just happen.
And again,
So I would.
so John, really, the El Sobrante planning and zoning, it doesn't respond to John. It's totally separate, it's a group, you know, an area group that planning and zoning and your conservation development. And Richmond planning and zoning have agreed to let have some say.
So part of our problem has been here on the map is that by the time it comes to us, we don't have a lot of information, and even though
Yeah.
Ronnie does a really good job trying to get owners here to talk about it and whatever. This group, correct me if I'm wrong, was basically from the time we get notified, going out and at least looking at the site and doing some of that on the ground
Right.
work, so that by the time it came to the map, we had a clue of what we were looking at. So that's kind of what y'all were doing, right?
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
would do that, and we would also go to,
But you'd also help Richmond.
right,
yes, but we'd also go to, if it was a variance on a setback, for example, we would go to neighbors. We would ask neighbors, what do you think about this? How it's going to impact you? What do you think? We'd get their input. And then we would make a separate report. Wasn't going to the map, it was a separate report going to the county.
Ah.
And so there might be map members on there, whatever, yeah, but we were.
But you're doing-
There's a volunteer group that was established just to review planning and zoning. That's what they did, even before Tom and I were on. I mean, there was people there that were the original founders of that. But I was.
Eleanor Lloyd.
And the other guy, he lived across the street from me on Sweetwood, I don't remember his name now, but he was one of the original, but he's passed away, so, yeah. Yeah, so there's.
So I'm just trying to understand how
Mhm.
this would all work together. So from the point of view of the MAC, our role is to sort of say, here we are residents of El Sobrante, this is a project in the El Sobrante area. Our job is to assess the community impact of that project.
right,
And what the planning and zoning does is it broadens it beyond just El Sobrante, so that we get all the people in the valley, including the May Valley and then the Chamber of Commerce people,
Right.
or the Richmond, Bay Valley and other Richmond folks, plus the Chamber of Commerce people.
Yes.
And so that's like an additional sort of layer of input that the supervisors or that
Well,
DC.
yeah, again, it's separate from the supervisor.
Right, but
Other than that, we explained to you.
they're not, it's not overseen by the supervisor.
No.
But it's input that the DCE gets in determining the community impact of the project. Is that a reasonable way to? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I don't, it was, when I was on the PNC and on the map, the PNC never reported that.
Right.
They've been members, I mean, like Tom and I were on both. There was other people that were from the Bay Valley group that wasn't on the back. So there were people that were involved specifically for purposes of reviewing what was going on with building in El Sobrante. That was it. And we reported back to the planner or back to the county. And sometimes we would then report to the MAC just what we felt in case the MAC was gonna make a decision as well.
Yeah.
But you realize that, at least I realized that being on the MAC, we don't go out and look at properties. That isn't our job. We're not there to make that decision. That isn't our job. And we may have ideas about what we think. But the P and Z was very, very specifically going out, looking at property. We were like inspectors. I mean, it was like really making a decision on, is this something that will benefit us? That was the decision. It was just about the building part, not about other things, just that. And so it was totally separate, but and I didn't, I mean, he mentioned to me, I brought this up to start the whole process. And say, why don't we have a P and Z in there? Sure. It fell apart. I mean, just the COVID was hooking up. Yeah, and Tom was nice enough to tell me, I didn't realize there had to be many groups that had to have members. Okay, but it wasn't really a member organization, it was like a separate entity. Yeah, it's hard to describe, but it was totally separate from the bank.
So I guess my question is, would we still be doing our evaluations here in the MAC meetings?
Well, you have to still do
Right.
the max evaluations, but we can have it.
But the
the
planner
report
gets more information
Right,
by having, and if more information and potentially different information by having a P and Z.
well, yeah, one thing is the P and Z, since it doesn't have to follow Brown Act, they can have meetings more often. And generally, they respond, they get notification of a project that has to be responded to. They'll respond probably within a week.
Chris has a question.
Actually, it's more like a point of order. It sounds to me like you're actually talking about appointing liaisons to a coalition because you don't control it. So calling it a committee or a subcommittee.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a subcommittee.
Yeah, so I think about liaisons to a coalition.
Or group.
Right, that's what the group.
Yeah.
And I have one thing to say, that as a citizen, I would love it if I had a ordinance that I was disputing and somebody came and did eyeballs on it. As opposed to coming to this meeting and looking at the paper that I don't understand, and so I think it's awesome because there's such a difference between what the paper says and what the actual.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
It is.
and I mean, Tom was one of the better people for being able to look at plans and figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to go look. I don't have the skill to be able to look at that thing. Yeah, this looks like good. I need to go out and look at it and walk the property and see it, and that's papers.
When we just see the planning here, we don't know the effect it has on the.
No, right, not unless you go ask.
That's so important.
That's right.
Well, I think that's kind of what we're just trying to get a sense of when we look at all these things. It's like we can ask general questions, okay, how's this going to affect traffic patterns and,
Which is really.
Please wait.
I'm sorry, I don't think no one has ever seen me here. Question, is this the council meeting for Sobrante?
This is the,
Okay, nice. They're looking for it.
Is there, do you have anything that you wanted to?
No, I would
about this?
actually like to listen what
Okay, well,
okay.
Welcome, we're glad you're here and please come every month.
Okay, so what do you think?
Little,
Spice?
Item P6.
So this is more.
That's how you're taking
This is for, let's go back to the info. Tom was the one that told me, I didn't realize that we had these 3 map members and 3 May Valley members and that kind of thing. So let it be chamber members, whatever, it doesn't, so the question is map on it's, you still want people. Because I said, oh, man, look, we need to set the PNC. Whether the map is involved or not, that's not my issue here, I'm not suggesting that you guys have to be involved, or anybody have to be involved. But he said the guidelines that were written up initially said that was important. I think the ones not to read.
This is what, go ahead, please.
I was gonna say, the issues that we have around not being able to get the kind of information we want, it sounds like a conduit for that. I get it, you don't work for the MAC, but that doesn't mean we can't ask you questions.
That's true. You can only ask.
And especially if you two happen to be on there, and if we do appoint people to be in this group, then I hope those people would, plan to let us know. Because I think the deal is, for me, I feel like the MAC is the place where the community can have a forum to discuss these things. But they can't have a forum to discuss these things if these things are happening kind of in Martinez and they're happening on the internet and people don't know what's happening on the ground. And so we've got to complete that circle, because then people can't come here and have I was very mindful last month that the item that everyone was so upset about had really been on the agenda the month before, and we didn't even know why they were here. And that's the kind of thing that, maybe we don't have to have that. People don't have to start a petition and get blow their stacks if they can find out a little more. You have a little better communication. So maybe this is a conduit.
So what I'm thinking is, this is what we should take a vote on. We should take a vote on endorsing the formation of reformation of the P and Z group. And that we, let's say, at the next meeting, provide 3 names, either MAC members, or we can refer people through the MAC to be 3 of the members of this group. Does that sound like a reasonable thing?
And everyone, go tell all your friends that it's reforming, and if you know anyone that wants to be part of it, to contact.
I mean, I feel like this would.
Contact you or Ronnie, I don't think it's.
I think contact Ronnie.
Ronnie, okay.
Yeah, because.
Ronnie, you'll forward the names to us? Okay.
So I think that this would be a good thing, because I think it'll improve kind of the quality of the input that BCD will get about appropriate projects. So the resolution is endorse the formation of this group, and next month appoint, name 3 people to it.
Okay.
So second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Well, we can.
We can figure out who
We can
wants to
figure
know.
that out. That's a separate.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So,
let me just ask a housekeeping question about that. So, rather than just pointing from the general circles of people we know who sit in this room all the time, I'm thinking especially like the La Colina group and some of the other really active groups who aren't necessarily represented in this room right now. Is there some way we can get the word out so that people are interested in this? They can let us know by January, because if we do this really fast like this, we're gonna get just the people we know and we might miss somebody who'd be really useful.
so I could reach out to the law, people. They walk by my house most days.
Well, what there's the casual outreach, but I was wondering if maybe Ronnie could put it in the e-blast that we're looking for people who might want to do this, who live in 94803. Because I'm assuming 94803 is sort of the
Pretty much.
close enough, right?
Yeah.
Did you have a comment?
Those flyers, I'm willing to go like door by door, like this is something the council needed that I didn't know, we're pretty sure it was held here, but I was unaware of it. I'm pretty sure a lot of us ransom members are totally unaware of it. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of them don't even know that this is not even like, we don't have even a major that we have this. So, posting flyers, willing to do that, door by door.
So what I would, thank you so much, it's a very kind offer. What I would suggest is you go up and talk with Ronnie after the meeting. And we can see you know, if there's any way to contribute.
If we can hit our map list and maybe the e-blast, that ought to reach most people. Especially our map list.
So, good point.
Thank you.
So remind me that the people.
So I think we can move on to our next issue, which is a
Well,
presentation.
three from each, I'm saying, yeah. Nobody else can get on, you have to either be appointed by a group or you can't be on, that's correct. So nobody couldn't, that's not on, couldn't be approved by others, you couldn't say. Oh, you really like to go to the P and Z, well, sir, you have to either go to the May Valley or go to the MAC or go to the chamber and get them to back in their ass so that they want you to say.
So, I think what we'll do is we'll describe that in this email blast. So I think what we can do, just to keep moving along, is go to our next presentation, which is on envisioning Concord Process 2040.
Good evening, I'm Maureen Thomas, the Deputy Director for the Department of Conservation and Development in the Policy Planning Division. And with me is Nicole Shimuzu from our Sustainability Group. And we're going to talk to you about both the general plan and the climate action plan that have been out for public review since mid-October. This is sort of a cheat sheet to help you determine what's in the plan, things that you're going to want to watch out for. The general plan was, the current general plan was adopted back in 1991. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. And there, you know, we have done amendments between then and now to update things related to state law. But this general plan, we're taking a whole brand new look, and throughout the general plan, you know, there are mandatory sections, elements, or chapters, if you will. You'll find those on page 3 of this. And many different jurisdictions have been adding additional elements like environmental justice, community health, and economic development, sustainability. And we thought that since those themes are really important, we're going to fold those in, weave those issues in all of the mandatory elements. We do have one element that involves environmental justice, community health, healthy homes, arts and culture, workforce development, business and innovation, and community engagement. And that's going to be in an element that we're calling stronger communities. So that's not one of the mandatory elements. That's one that through public engagement that we started back in 2019, and that's how we're treating those topics in that element. So what you'll find is just some basic information that will help you in reviewing the draft general plan and also the climate action plan, and Nicole will give you a little bit of background on that. But before I turn it over to her, I also wanted to indicate that through the several meetings that we had in El Sobrante, starting in 2019, we wanted to put together a community profile. So we're going to have some specific guidelines, principles, policies, and actions that are specific to El Sobrante, and those are going to be found in here. Now, this is a draft, even though it was developed with input from community meetings. We want to make sure that right now is the time to let us know, did you take notes correctly? Did you get it right? And please let us know. Currently, we're taking comments up until the end of January, but that's likely going to be extended. And the reason that will be extended is we're going to be issuing an environmental impact report on the plans, and we want those to have end times at the same time. And the EIR may go out before the holidays, but it's really hard to say because we're finishing up some aspects of that report. So we will likely announce, you know, a new date in which we'd like to see comments. But with that, I'll turn it over to Nicole for a few comments.
Can I, is this material online? So
It all is.
Yes.
Our website is called Envision Contra Costa 2040.org. And all of the documents, including the notes that were taken at the several El Sobrante meetings, are all online.
I just want the people online to be able to see this material. 2040. Envision Contra Costa 2040.com.
.org.
Got it.
So you can even join a mailing list. So
I'm on the mailing list, I just want to help out the people in the chat who are online.
right, so if
Okay.
anybody here wants to join the mailing list, you can get email notifications of publications, meetings that we're having. We're looking at having a District 1 open house, it'll probably be in January. So you get notifications on that, and there's a whole list of all of the maps that we're going to see. We've been visiting all of the maps in late November, December, and then into January as well.
Thanks, Maureen. Yeah, so I'm here to talk a little bit about the updates to the climate action plan. So the climate action plan is a little bit newer. The first one was adopted in 2015, and so all the targets in that climate action plan sunset in 2020. So we did a refresh, which is our 2024 climate action plan update, which includes elements on energy efficiency, reducing waste, water efficiency, improving bike access and things like that. So you can find more information on the last page of the booklet. Yeah, and then you can also scan the QR code to find all information about it online as well. And since I was here, I thought I would share a little bit about some of the things that we're actually doing. I know you all have so many papers already, so maybe you communicate if you want them. But our partners over at the Office of Emergency Services is updating their local hazard mitigation plan, which has to do with things like how to respond to wildfires and evacuation routes and all those things that might be of interest to you. So we're taking surveys at the middle school at the end of January. So over the holidays, while you have copious amounts of time, you can take that survey as well. And then there's also the Bay Area Regional Energy Network, which offers energy efficiency incentives for folks looking to make their home more energy efficient. So there's also good slides there. And yeah, we're just hoping to get your input in whether or not we got it right in terms of all of the actions that are in there and making sure that the climate is safe in the future.
And then the comments that we're going to be taking is comments on the general plan, comments, and that would include the community profile, comments on the climate action plan, and then once we release the EIR, it would be comments on the environmental impact report, whether or not you think that we have the EIR adequately addresses impacts on the environment. So that's why we're trying to, we want to have the end dates for those to be the same. You know, if you don't like something in the plan, that's not an EIR comment, that's a comment on the plan itself. So because those different categories of comments can get confusing, we want to have the end dates the same so that, you know, if you comment, we know which bucket to put it in. So we're available for any questions. You can also reach out there. There is some information as far as, you know, how to contact us. If you have, if you want to just make comments, or if you have immediate questions, we can see what we can do.
So I just wanted to start off by just commending you for really producing.
This is gorgeous.
You know, I mean, they do just an incredible job of taking this really complex issue and sort of making it digestible and readable. So it's a great job.
Yes, I would, we have a really efficient team that is really dedicated, including our consulting team, PlaceWorks.
And just at a first glance, it's written in English.
Yes, that was
And
from the.
that's really important because as somebody who reads a lot of county documents, they're not all really in English. This is really in English and I really appreciate that.
I'll pass that on.
Yeah. Good writing, all different.
A lot of rewrites involved and. Now, it's just a quick look through it, I don't see anything. Years ago, there was a plan to put a circle up at the triangle. To replace the light, yes. Is that still in the works?
I don't think there was ever a plan to do a circle, like you mean at Valley View, at the end.
Right.
Yeah, I don't recall ever seeing
There was
that.
planned to do
There was
circle.
there was at where El Patel comes into Dam Road, there was a proposal to do, kind of a, you know, another grid street.
No, this was up at the triangle.
Yeah, we
Replace the
looked
light.
at that, that was a traffic calming measure.
Yeah,
And I think that was actually some of the things that people were talking about with the bike study. That they were trying to slow people down on Valley View, and that would work, but it was really expensive, it was outrageous.
You'd have to buy up property if you were.
Oh, it would be insane,
You know.
and I ain't selling, I ain't selling. One of the properties involved. I'm not selling.
well, no, it would have been. The far side of the circle, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't have affected you, but.
So for further questions for our DCD reps?
Yeah, one is just, maybe, try is some things, the 2040 is the website, 2045 is the vision, is. I think you just kind of briefly explain that, but I do have some.
Yeah, I can explain that. We started this in 2018. We didn't expect to have a huge hiccup, when the pandemic happened. And we're starting to, you know, we're starting to look at projections and now, you know,
Everything changed.
everything changed and we adjusted our projections. It was just too late to go back and change our URL.
Okay, and my other question actually has to do with the fact that when you look at this map, it looks like it's like half of this county and half of the city. I just wonder if the coordination is going on between the different city groups. If it's too long of a question, I think people don't want to much on the front security.
Incorporated cities have responsibility to do their own general plans. We do, when we do the EIR, we take into account projects that are happening in cities and they take those into account when they're doing their general plans as well. So we do, share with them. I would also let you know that, all of the planning directors throughout the county, we meet on a regular basis, as do the county engineers. So, you know, for instance, we're looking at doing, you know, grants for certain things that are really countywide that include both the cities and the unincorporated areas. So we do keep in touch with each other on what's happening.
As you well know, this 94803, about third of it's Richmond and 2/3 of it's El Sobrante and half the time, you know, it's all on the same street. So we don't even know where it is half the time. And who knows when it comes to zoning, you don't want, you know, one side of the block to be one thing and the other side of the block to be completely something else. So that makes total sense.
Are there questions for Marilyn? Anybody up there?
Jean and some folks are still here. Jean and Anne Marie and Jean. You guys have any questions? I don't see any hands going up.
All right.
In that
Well,
case,
thank you for helping us.
we really appreciate your coming to our meeting.
Thank you for
Excellent.
sticking it out to the end. And I can't wait to really read this stuff.
This is great.
It's really beautiful and I know I'm gonna be delighted to read it.
I'm actually looking forward to bringing it home and showing it to my wife. I think she would agree with everything.
My wife is gonna take it out of my hands. If I don't like hang on to it first, I won't get to read it.
If you subscribe to get emails, you'll get notification whenever we work with Supervisor Joya's office to set up an open house.
And what's the email?
Envision Contra Costa 2040.org.
On the back.
On the back of the desk, you got it.
Yeah.
Well, this is good, I'm gorgeous, thank you.
So, again, thank you so much. And so just to, continue with our agenda, we don't have discussion items today. And, information reports by, MAC members. So, I might have something next month regarding some of the investigations of Martinez refineries.
Okay.
So, you know, particularly would relate to the report that's come out and kind of, so I don't know if there will be releasable information by that time, but if there is, I'd like to maybe just do a summary of what's been found so far. But I did on that.
Toxic releases can happen, but information releases cannot.
Right. So information reports by MAC members. So I guess subcommittee reports are the beautification.
Okay. So, first off, we were rained out of our last cleanup last month. But we expect to go forward, although there were a few diehards who did show up.
It's raining there.
In the grand south there. So, our next Saturday cleanup is this Saturday, December 16th at 10 o'clock. Again, we meet at the, right here in the parking lot. And, we have equipment and some snacks, and we send you out to pick up litter around town. And I have postcards here if anybody needs them, which have copyrighted guide on the back on how to get rid of stuff. So that's this Saturday, and we clean up for 2 hours.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm glad.
First
Hope you'll.
That's all right.
You want to come?
I think everybody in here has probably got 10 of them, but
It's like just me.
Thank you though. Okay.
poor folks.
Yeah, so come join us on Saturday. We meet, it's really a great community building activity, and we're making a difference in our community, making it cleaner, nicer, and so we were rained out, but some of us take it upon ourselves and go in between the cleanups, the Saturdays, pick an area that really needs attention, and we go and together we try to clean that up. Also next on Saturday is running up to this dumpster day. So people have items to get rid of, there are gonna be some dumpsters over at the Moose Lodge. And I really request that in the future, in 2024, that we don't have conflicts on the day. If we could pick a different Saturday than the third Saturday. We have dibs on the third Saturday, we have it along with
Sounds
spots.
like a New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and spotters also have their cleanups on Wilkie Creek that they normally do. Third Saturday as well. I guess they meet there.
Yeah, usually.
And so we also had a beautification project going on. We've kind of taken over from Dorcas, or she wants relief. So some people from the green team have decided to help out and try to maintain the planters that the Chamber of Commerce put out there. And for what we're looking for and where we're at, I'd like to invite Chris to speak briefly about that.
Yeah, well, we have a nice list of all the planters, and we have a group in the green team that are going ahead to, we've already replanted a few of them, and we're going to be replanting more of them to go along. The chamber is giving us some funding for the flower pots, for the soil, and the nutrients, and we're trying to get people to donate plants as much as possible, but we can, also ask them to money for that as well if we need to down the road. I think that.
Planting Justice is willing to donate some plants.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Vicky and I worked that out in the hot tub.
Yeah. And,
You have a list of plants that you like.
well, we want succulents or something that is more, we were, like the idea of natives, but it's really hard to get the natives going sometimes.
Yes.
So we want somebody that's going to just survive. So we're open to a lot of suggestions.
My wife likes to propagate a lot, so a few.
Oh, great.
There you go. Yes, she has a lot of succulents, so.
Okay.
maybe we
She'll
can
probably
work
get
something
some
else.
And we have a WhatsApp group that discusses all these things, we recently had a meeting, and the two issues that really remain, I mean, like I said, Champion's gonna take care of the soil and the news, we got people such as yourself who are looking to donate much to the plants. But the two things are accessibility to water, and we need to create people who go, one person, I mean, like alternating weeks to walk.
Adopt a jardinier.
Every week it gets like all the flower pots to check, but not the same person doing it every week, so we're trying to find people like we do one walk through a month or something like that. And take care of that, and anything else on that? You guys want to bring up? There's several other people in here who are part of that group too,
Has anyone contacted East Bay Mud about the recycled water? And if they're, I don't know if they transport it, I know if you go out and you can get water from them, but.
Someone did mention that some municipalities have a service where they provide water for things like that. Like
Wastewater.
Well,
and some of the, I was supposed to ask if the county has a program where they provide water.
this is one of those moments where we're sorry George isn't here, but Monty, this came up at our last work day too, because we're doing a lot of water harvesting on our site. And somebody who works for the San Francisco Water Agency happened to be there, and he told me that East Bay Mud is required to provide recycled water in a lot of places, and he said, I bet they'd be very excited about you, because this would be a place where they could put it all in our huge storage tanks. But it strikes me, if they actually are mandated to use recycled water, maybe East Bay Mud could just be your watering source.
Yeah, but
They might be
again,
able to do
it's the
that.
transport, I think the policy is that you have to go to wherever they have and pick up the water. That's
Work some kind of
someone has a 4-gallon thing in the back of their pickup truck.
Well, the guy over there at 10,000 Villages has lots of tanks. Cause he does 10,000 Villages, community villages on Castro Ranch. Well, he has a business where he power washes things. He's got lots of water tanks. He could probably hold as much water as you could possibly need to water those jardiniers. So we might be able to figure out some way to make that work.
Yeah.
If the water needs big blood, if he's willing to transport it or whatever, I don't know.
Well, the only issue after that though is that each spot has its own little space, they're all over town.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
You have to transport it, have some sort of pumping system, that's.
well, he's got the equipment.
Okay.
I think he can put water anywhere you want it and at high velocity if you want.
Well, you don't want.
No.
And we'd like to get buy-in by the property owners,
Yeah.
the planters are near, they could be able to.
If they would water their own jardiniers.
It would be nice, wouldn't it?
But some of those places are empty.
And other places are doing it anyway, so we do, and the other possibility is of moving the flower pot businesses that are more willing to.
It's a
like,
jardinier.
extremely-
It's not a flower pot, it's a jardinier.
Well, that's good, whatever it is.
That's called a jardinier.
So I just think it over to you, but I'll be any questions.
Okay, so that's how, I just have one other thing to say, and I'd like to invite Ramon, if you had anything to add about the dumping situation and.
I'm very happy, really, that the rails were installed. On the reservoir, that is really.
That can help.
That really helps, because that'll stop dumping over the ravine.
Well, at least they can't back in there.
Right, so now they're dumping on other places, right?
Usually the way it works.
Yeah, at least we can see the public works can pick them up easier than.
Down the ravine.
There. Yeah, thank you, public works, really, and Ronnie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
I would example next is really mobilizing.
that's really collaborating, I mean, that's really county volunteers and, everybody had each contributed to that successful clean up. So I don't know the rest of the plan, but I'm happy about it. So, yeah, we'll just continue on to, you know, correct other places that have,
We'll keep monitoring
Yeah,
it,
keep
make
monitoring.
sure
Yeah.
that it doesn't happen and try to get swift action to clean up when it does.
Yeah, and I think Ronnie got me mistaken with somebody else who takes care of, I mean, Alhambra Valley. So when you mentioned about Alhambra Valley, I drove there, it's actually out of my way. But
That's Debbie Gomez.
I took pictures and emailed them. And Public Works has emailed back that they already took care of the bullet ridden sign that's been there forever. And our food's gone.
Yeah, we're still hoping to get new cameras, all of them,
Yeah.
and more signage about fines and things like that, and how to report if you see something happening. So that's pretty much it. Hope to see you on Saturday is our final cleanup of the year. And then we'll continue on in 2024 with a cleaner and more beautiful El Sobrante.
Thank you so much, all you guys, for all your work.
Thank all of our presidents, all of our volunteers, because it is the state to do this.
So.
Don't be surprised if you happen to see Nikki and Chris cleaning the street. On other days than this, I took my garbage cans out from the house. They were walking down the street, three of them, there was another lady there, I can't remember her name, but there was three, and Mickey had, their son had one, and she turned around and looked at me and I go, Mickey? So I invited them into the property, check the property, I have a master gardener for a wife, and so it's see the property, but they were working away down the street, picking up things, and you know, it's a constant thing. So it's really nice, yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't do it on the actual cleanup day because it was raining.
Yeah, they get washed away.
So.
So, on time, I just want to say Jean Henderson was looking. And she's talking about the residential fill station for recycled water. But it looks like they do have a truck. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna send this to you. Okay.
Okay, so I'm thinking if there are no.
Thanks, Jean.
Questions for Mickey and Smith and the cleanup and beautification committee, we can move on to the next item, which is agenda items for upcoming SMAC meetings.
I have one question, I'm sorry, guys.
No.
But it's not a recent question, but the Appian Way, like you know where the intersection goes, Appian Way, Valley Road. There's a stop sign where it's many times has displayed anti-Semitism. Like, and it's been going on for years. And
Where
is it?
where's
Up at the triangle.
yeah,
Oh, but which part of the triangle?
there's this one stop sign, it's absolutely
Is it across the street from the, like the
where Domino's was to you.
Oh, on that side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't ever drive through that side, so that's why I've seen it.
Yeah, and it was in fluorescent light, so it could only be seen at night. It couldn't be seen
wow.
throughout the day. And, okay, so I'm seeing a couple faces that didn't notice that. And this has been going on for years. And I guess I could get in trouble by saying that I actually graffitied it. Just covered it, I covered it, yeah, like, that's good, paint, if it's black, if you cover it, they put the SS, like straight up. They put a Nazi sign. And my question, like, to me, like, throughout the years, honestly, like, I've been like, really, did no one ever notice that? I didn't know that.
I didn't walk there though.
I feel unfortunate bringing it up right now as Israel's.
So why don't we do this? This might be a good thing to report to John, and we can see maybe there's a way of changing the signage, doing something that.
Yeah, I think like the sign is something.
Can you take a photo of it, maybe?
I have videos of it.
You do?
Yeah.
If I give you my email address, will you send it to me?
Yeah.
I have property in that neighborhood,
Yeah.
and I will definitely make that something that we start looking at.
Yeah.
Because we should report it and get it invested. I mean, you may recall a number of years ago, El Sobrante made national news for a 26-foot swamp in somebody's front yard. So it is an element of this community that I think we have to be very mindful that some of our neighbors hold some pretty nasty views.
Yeah, agreed.
And we need to pay attention to it. We finally got the swastika covered and then eventually taken down. But this stop sign, I have not seen that, and I will look for it.
Yeah.
It wasn't one time, it wasn't twice, I did this.
It's a lot, apparently.
Yeah, like the person, I guess she works with Dr. Costa, I've never been in any of these meetings, like she even came up to me and it was all of a sudden, she was like, are you the one covering those signs? Like she asked me if I know how she was stepping out, and I said, yes. Like there have been many of those signs, and I have proof.
Oh, no, I believe you.
And
Here's my email. Send me the video.
Thank you for bringing that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
again, I feel like that's-
Thank you for coming to talk to us.
Do you have the citizen there?
No, I do not.
You can take it, if you can download it, you take a picture of it and send it.
Okay.
In the county.
In the county.
I have it.
The mobile citizen.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I bring this up it's, I mean, I've been living here for 8 years. I didn't graduate from college, I only did 2 years, got married, had my own family, I lived in it, right there ever since, and yeah, I mean, like, that was the most fantastic thing I ever seen. Before the war, yeah, like, and it's just, yeah. Since I used to work in Martinez, and I used to go there at 5 AM and drive through there and see that thing every single day. And once I covered it, it was, I don't know, like, it was, something new was put on, the same, it's a yellow square inverted. Like just a sign like,
Yeah.
like as a stop, but every time it was.
A yield
it-
sign.
the same thing was done, and it was in fluorescent sign so that you can only see it at night, so that during the day, when everyone passes by, you can't see it.
This is great information, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, I think we can move to our next item, which is, speakers for upcoming SNAC meetings. I think, if we can get somebody from DCD here to just give us a rundown on the plan, I think it would be.
No, Public Works.
Public Works rather, on the
'Cause
noise
that's
ordinance.
Yeah.
She went into Public Works.
Give us a rundown on the noise ordinance plan. And, yeah, so that's my suggestion. Does anybody else have suggestions about upcoming?
Well, I put in this before, but I would just say, I would still love to hear from public health about any plans to increase emergency health services in District 1. I can think of a number of ways that we could take some of the pressure off of Kaiser Richmond. But I'd like to hear if they've got any plans and what they are, and if they don't, what process can we use to do something about this? I've heard from multiple people that it's just, and again, with Chief Gage tonight. Ambulances stacked up at Kaiser Richmond, driving people to Martinez, driving people to Oakland, God knows where else. Because Walnut Creek, because they can't they can't there's nowhere to go.
So that's a good thing to have.
And, you know, this is not a gotcha to Public Works, it's more like, can we start this dialogue? Cause Don fought to keep Doctors Hospital, he said this would happen, and it has happened. That we have not enough emergency services in this district.
So I would call that community.
Yeah, we wanna have a conversation about it.
All right. Any other agenda items?
I don't know if it makes any sense to invite people to come up with some ideas about goals for 2024 for El Sobrante. Does that make any sense? I mean,
Well, so that isn't so much a speaker, so we.
no, it's not a speaker.
So maybe what we could do is just say that's something that we could have part of our public comment section about that.
What would you like to see in 2024?
What would you like to see?
I understand that somebody's just buying up a fair amount of real estate in El Sobrante, number of parcels. I don't know who this person is.
That's the scuttlebutt.
But yeah, but so I mean, I would like to hear from, if it's possible, do some outreach to find out who the people are behind the development that is buying up this property.
Do you know where that's?
I don't know, somebody's just outlined to you, they're getting control of about 4 main properties around
Is
there.
that right here on Ten Woodland Road?
Yeah, I think so.
That's, I forget his name, but his name's on a lot of stuff.
Is he the guy who bought,
You know, I don't know the guy,
the-
that's why I want to hear from you, because somebody-
I think so.
Same
So
one?
that's Avi.
Yeah. That's, is that his name?
Avi, he has the building on the corner of El Portal
Isn't
and.
that the strike?
Yes, I think it's the same people. As
I think Nicole has an answer to the question.
I'm pretty sure I know what that is, but Nicole Dawn would be the person who knows for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, if there's someone who's got kind of a strategy going to developing multiple parcels, I think it'd be interesting for the MAC to hear what their plan
What the
is.
plan is, yeah.
Well, it may be a little early.
It's a pretty speaker recommendation. SOS would like to come to a future meeting. I would bring O'Neill Fernandez, who you all know. We'd like to do sort of an update on what we've been working on, because you know us from doing cleanups, but we go far beyond help unhoused folks, and it's a service that we can offer to folks in El Sobrante. And we'd also like to hear, we also have, well, actually O'Neill and his team have been doing mapping, so we actually have much better data on numbers of people.
I'd be thrilled to hear
The
this.
county has, and because it's sensitive, we don't disclose all the locations, but we can talk. We have one person who's like mapped 200 locations in campus in Richmond. And it's really valuable information, and it's a little hard.
That's fine.
It's hard to get out because we don't want the county to feel
No.
criticized, but it's good information for El Sobrante. Like, this is what the need is. And then these are some of the services that we're offering that not only help people try to get ready to get into housing, but to help people once they're in housing, because there are all these programs in this area, in this county, in the state, and around the country where they throw people into housing, but they're not working. We need housing sustainability, so are folks ready to have a job? Do they have support? Do they feel connected? All of those things are so important, and so that's part of what we're trying to create in West County. So we can give you an update and, and some very hyper local data as well.
So do you think you'd be okay with either the January or February meeting?
Strong preference that whatever time public health says they're coming, could be the same night you're there. Cause I would love to hear that, those pieces of information next to each other.
Yeah.
There might be some synchronicity that we could come up with, because I don't know, sometimes you wonder whether public health sitting in Martinez knows what you know on the street.
Yeah, we actually, we do a lot of work with healthcare for the homeless, and also lifelong medical, we have a small presence in, Contra Costa County. And so that's a big interest of ours, that would be really interesting.
Well, thank you so much,
Yeah.
that's great. Any other suggestions for agenda items? So if we don't have further suggestions for agenda items, now is the time for public comment. Anything that wasn't on the agenda, 2 minutes per speaker limit. Any public comments? Okay, I'll take that as a no. And I think we can adjourn.
Okay. I'm done now.
I